together a list of the the four most disappointing NFL franchises today. Not the four worst. If we're talking about the four worst, then the Panthers are on that list. The Jets are on that list, The Jaguars are on that list, But not the four worst, but the four disappointing. Okay, what's the difference? Worst simply means, man, you just suck. You suck on paper. You suck in the front office. You suck everything. You don't have it. You just don't have it. You're not there. You're not there yet. That would be if we did a list of the worst NFL franchises. This is a list of the four most disappointing NFL franchises. Which means that we're talking about franchises who look good on paper, had what we thought to be a good or solid front office, but they woefully disappointed. Not able to get over the hump. Not able to knock on the door of the playoffs, or not able to bring home the Lombardi Trophy. Here are the four most disappointing franchises in the NFL. And this list reveals something very critical. What makes a franchise disappointing is the leadership. Leadership on and off the field. That's what makes a franchise so disappointing. You have an incompetent GM and owner, or you have a quarterback who just can't get you over the hump. Perfect example is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The quarterback comes, the culture completely changes. Completely changes. Completely changes. You say the same thing with Sean McVay when he came to the Rams. Culture changes. Now everybody is expecting the Rams to win, to be in playoff contention, to play deep in the postseason. Your NFL and even in NBA, LeBron just shows us that leadership is the unspoken, game-changing quality of sports organizations that we need to talk more about, man. Kobe Bryant won his final championship off of his leadership. On court, off the court, his leadership for that team. Go back and look at those stats, man, for his last championship. Go back and look at those stats. It wasn't nothing to write home about. Wasn't nothing that's going to go down in the record books. His leadership. Tom Brady, leadership. And these four teams come down to leadership, both on the field and off the field when it comes to the front office. Top four most disappointing NFL franchises in the NFL today. Number 4, the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings have had some stud players, man. Minnesota Vikings, Culpepper, Dante Culpepper. They had the running back Smith. They had Chris Carter. Then they had Chris Carter and Randy Moss. And they disappointed us because they were not able to get over the hump. They weren't able to secure the Lombardi Trophy. They weren't able to really consistently compete deep into the playoffs. Number 3, the Chargers. The Chargers have had some really good football teams, man. Antonio Gates, weren't able to do much with him, but put up stats. They got rid of Drew Brees. Oh, gosh, how stupid that was. They had Father Time for God knows how long. Phillip Rivers. They weren't able to go deep in the playoffs. Weren't able to make Super Bowl runs. Then they had LaDainian Thompson, and they just weren't able to win. It's disappointing when you put a product like that on the field and you can't come away or even come close to coming away with the Lombardi. Disappointing. Number 2, and I really wanted to put these guys number 1 because I can't stand these guys. But I'm just being, got to be honest, got to be true, got to be, objective, whatever. The Falcons. As much as it pains me to say this, there haven't been too many years in the last decade to where you look on paper and say, man, the Falcons suck. Of course, I'm going to say that because I'm a Buccaneer. But in reality, man, the Falcons have had some pretty good teams. The Falcons have had a spoil of riches offensively for a while. Matt Ryan throws for 4,000 yards every season. It's like in his sleep. Julio Jones is freaking Julio Jones. I mean, when they had Coleman and Freeman and they were clicking on all cylinders, you can't tell me that the Falcons don't have a solid team. They have a solid team. They have horrible ownership, and they have a quarterback who's not clutch. I don't know how the hell he earned the title Matty Ice. I mean, it's not like he won anything at Boston College. Yeah, he's got ice in his veins. He freezes. He freezes when it's time to rise to the occasion. They make the list because not only have they lost every Super Bowl they've been in, but they make the list because you had the GOAT pinned. You had him pinned. What was it, 2018 Super Bowl? Up 28-6, dude. And you lose. I mean, you lose that Super Bowl, man. We're talking about the freaking Atlanta Falcons. You're in Atlanta. Atlanta is like the mecca for arts and entertainment. How the heck don't you have a Super Bowl? Like, that's so disappointing. You got so much talent. Don't tell me you don't have defensive talent. You got talent on both sides of the ball. Whatever. You got the talent. You're just not able to get over that hump because you suck at the top with leadership. And your quarterback sucks when it counts most. He's great if we're talking Pro Bowl. He's great if we're talking stats, if we're talking But when it really comes down to the nitty gritty, Matt Ryan comes up short. Therefore, the Falcons come up short. Which leads us to number one. In my opinion, the most disappointing franchise in the NFL. The Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions. Oh, don't give me that look. It's the Detroit Lions. For 3 reasons. Really 2, but I'm going to squeeze in the third one. Barry Sanders. Quit. Calvin Johnson. Quit. Matthew Stafford traded for Jared Goff. Let's start with the GOAT. Let's start with Barry. Barry Sanders ran for over 15,000 yards, did it in 8-9 years. I mean, the creme de la creme. And this organization known as the Detroit Lions would not give this guy a freaking offensive line. If you gave the Cowboys offensive line to the Detroit Lions, not only would Barry Sanders have played for 15 years, he would have ran for close to 30,000 yards. Yeah, and blew every record, blew Emmett out the freaking water. But since the Detroit Lions weren't competent enough to surround this guy with talent and an offensive line, he waved bye-bye to the game. Same thing with Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson got sick and tired of getting smashed in the mouth and not making deep runs into the playoffs because the team just refused to put the necessary pieces around him. Then we get to Matthew Stafford, who when his career is all said and done, he's going to have the stats to go to Canton. But since you can't put anything, since the best thing you could put around him since Megatron left was Golden freaking Tate, he's out. The Detroit Lions are the most disappointing team in the NFL. I mean, just imagine if they would have did right by Barry and really built that team around Barry the way they needed to. Just imagine if they would have really built a solid team around Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. They would have definitely won at least one Super Bowl. They would have won one. They would have won one. But horrible leadership at the top produces crap on the field.